everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge Hub. Friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're gonna start with your that is your software engineering class, and this is the first class of software engineering. As I had told you about it, that will start soon as well. So this is the first class of software engineering. You can go through with that, and this is the unit we will discuss. That is unit 1, which is introduction of software engineering, or we can say that the introductions that will deal with it in terms of this particular subject. So before starting with this, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Other than that, software engineering, we are dealing with the same of the subjects, and whatever the we deal in this subject of software engineering, we will made a playlist. You can go through with that and you will find out each and every playlist, each and every subject in the form of playlist. You can go through with that, you will find each and every video there. We'll go starting with this with reference towards the software engineering. In the terms of software engineering, what we said is your introduction unit 1. With there, it consists of 5 units that we'll discussed here in the detail. In the first, we'll discuss about introduction to software engineering, what the subject is all about. First, the question has been asked, define software engineering and discuss its main objectives. So we'll discuss what is software engineering and the main objectives of the software engineering. So that has been asked of 8 times in the examination paper of 5 marks. So first we will go ahead to understood about it. What is software engineering? So what is software engineering? In this same cases that you have to know about it, which is the software engineering is a discipline in which theories, methods and tools are applied to develop the professional software. That is known as software engineering. I repeat, software engineering is a discipline in which theories, methods and tools are applied to develop the professional software. That is known as comes under software engineering. Now we'll talk about the objectives of software engineering. What were the objectives of software engineering here? So let's go ahead. Objectives of software engineering. So the objectives of software engineering that we talk about it, as I talk about the software engineering itself here. Now in the terms of the objectives of software engineering that we have to deal here, and that what we have, there are many objectives in terms of software engineering, but other than that we have to talk about many more. And in the same cases, there are in the same case that the first objective we'll talk about it, where the while developing the software, following are the common objective, and those common objective we deal with by one here. The first objective we have is your satisfy a user requirement, which is we have satisfy user requirements. So satisfy the user requirement here, in the same cases we'll talk about it, which is in the same case that many programmers simply do not do what the end user wants, and because they do not understand the user requirements, and hence it becomes necessary to understand the demand of end users, and accordingly the software should be developed. The second objective we have is your high reliability. In terms of high reliability here, where that the mistakes or bugs in a program that can be expensive in terms of human lives, money and the customer relation. For instance, the Microsoft has faced many problems because earlier release of Windows have many problems, and thus software should be delivered only if high reliability is achieved here. We'll talk about the third one, which we have is your low maintenance cost. That is your low maintenance cost. And low maintenance cost, that the maintenance of software in an activity that can be done only after delivering the software to the customer. Any small changes software should not cause a restructuring of whole software. This indicate that the design of the software has a poor quality. So that is the low maintenance cost is also necessary here. Now after that we have the another one that we have to talk about it, which is the another one here, that is delivery on time. That is the fourth objective. In the terms of delivery on time, here it is very it is very difficult to predict the exact time on which the software can be completed, but a systematic development of software can lead to meet the given deadline as well. We'll talk about the fifth objective of software engineering we have, which is that we have to follow, and that is the fifth objective that we have as follows, that is the low production cost. In the low production cost, we'll talk about it. So where in the same cases that we talk about is the other one we have the low production cost is that the software product should be the cost effective. The sixth objective we have, that is your high performance. In terms of high performance, the high performance software are expected to achieve optimization in speed and memory usage. The seventh and the last objective of software engineering we have is your ease of reuse. So in ease of reuse, that is they use same software in a different systems and software, that is the ease of use. So what we have talked about it, that is there are the objectives. We will talk about it, the software engineering, what is software engineering, and in the same case, in the same side, we had discussed about the objectives of software engineering, that we had talked about it. And in the terms of software engineering, there are the 7 objectives. The first is just to satisfy our requirements here, user requirements. The second is high reliability, and the third is low maintenance cost. The fourth is delivery on time. Fifth is low production cost. Sixth is high performance, and the seventh is ease of use here, reuse. That is we'll have to talk about it. Now we'll go ahead with the programs and software product, that what we have to talk about here. In the same case, the question that the another question has been asked is your to differentiate between a program and a software product. Differentiate between program and software product. So differentiate between a program and a software product here. There are many differences between these program and software product that we have talked about it. But other than that, we'll discuss 5 and 6 differences between those. In terms of programs here, that the programs are developed by individual user and it is used for personal use. And in software product, that is the software product is developed by multiple users and it is used by large numbers of people or customers as well. In the terms of program, the programs are small in size and possessing limited functionality. And in software product, that the software product consists of multiple programs code, related documents such as SRS, design document, user manuals and test cases and so on. In program here, that generally only one person uses a program and hence there is a lack of user interface, wherein the software product, that is good graphical user interface, is most required by any software product here. In the terms of program, that program is generally developed by programmer, and in software product, that the software product is developed by software engineers who are large in numbers and work in team. Therefore, the systematic approach of developing software product must be applied. The other example for the program here, that program of sorting and elements here, and for the software exam product, that example is your word processing software here. Now we'll deal with it, the different questions here, that is the differences that we have talked about, the six differences here with their examples as well, so that we have to go ahead as well. So in the same cases, we will be going ahead with a different another question that we had they had asked you about this difference between, they had asked you two times in the examination paper of the 5 marks. So we'll talk about the another question here, that is the list any two basic characteristics that differentiate a simple program for a software program. This has been asked for 2 marks, so we'll do it. And that is the two basic characteristics that differentiate a simple program from a software product. This has been asked of 2 marks, so that will deal with it. And so it has been asked of 2 marks, so we will just give a 2 point here, that is enough for it. And in the same case, that the first we can say that the programs is generally developed by individual users for personal use, while software product is developed by multiple users for customers as well. The second thing we can say that there is a lack of user interface, of very limited user interface for the program, and on the other hand, the good user interface is required by the software product only. Now we'll go ahead to other question, which is about the software characteristics as well. So before starting with the software characteristics, there are the questions here that what we have to answer it out as well, and that we have as follows. That is to define the term software and the various characteristics, and that we'll talk about it. So this has been asked of 2 marks, 2 times in the examination paper of 5 marks. The question is, what is software? So in the terms of software, the software is nothing but a collections of computer programs and related documents that are intended to provide desired features, functionalities, and a better performance. We'll talk about the various characteristics of software. So the various characteristics of software here that we talk about it. The first characteristic is that the software is engineered and not manufactured. Software does not wear out. And the third is most software is a custom built rather than being assembled from component as well. Now we will talk about the other question that has been asked is, the software does not wear out justified this statement. As I told you about, this is the characteristics as well, and that we will have to explain that. So let's go ahead with that particular statement. This has been, the statement has been asked in the examination paper of 1 time in the 5 marks question paper, so that we'll talk about it. Software does not wear out justify this statement. This has been asked for 5 marks, so we talk about here. And in the same cases, as this has been asked of 5 marks, so this is important one as well, so you have to go through with that as when we are going through with the questions, with the preparation with the software engineering subject. So in the same cases here, in an early stage of hardware development process, the failure rate is very high because of manufacturing defects, but that after that correcting such defects, the failure rate gets reduced and the failure rate remains constant for some period of time, and again it starts increasing because of the environmental maladies as well. On the other hand, the software does not get affected from such environmental maladies, but due to the some undiscovered errors, the failure rate is high and drop down as soon as the error gets corrected, and hence in failure rating of the software that the actual occur, and which is in the same case during the life of the software, If any changes is made, some defects may get introduced, and this cause failure rate to be high as well. The another issue with the software is that there are no spare parts for software, and if hardware components wear out, it can be replaced by the another component, but it is not possible in the case of the software here. For the failure curves, for the bathtub curves, we can say that it is in the form like that only for the hardware curve, and for the software curve, they have a different bathtub curves, and that the failure curves for the hardware and the software as well. With the actual curve and the idealized curve, their comparison with. Okay, now we'll talk about the other question that has been asked here. So that is also an important one in reference towards this. The question for the software crisis, and that is related to the software crisis, so that we deal with it in reference towards it, and in the terms of the software crisis, the question is, what are the symptoms of present software crisis, and what factors have contributed to making of present software crisis, and what were the possible solutions to present software crisis. This has been asked for 5 marks. So first we'll discuss the symptoms of present software crisis, and then we'll further move on with the different questions what they had asked you here itself in this that we have to talk about it. So let's go ahead with this, and that is we'll talk about the symptoms of present software crisis here. That is symptoms of present software crisis. So symptoms of present that is the software crisis we have that we have to deal with it here. The day by day the software purchases cost is getting more than the hardware purchase cost, and hence major part of the budget of any software industry is on software purchase. The software products are difficult to alter, maintain, enhance, and debug or modify. Software resources are not being used optimally, and user requirements are often evolving and cannot be satisfied fully. Software products not being reliable. Many times software products get crashed on occurrence of specific condition. Delivery of software product within a specified budget and on scheduled time. These were comes under the symptoms of present software crisis that we have to talk about it. Now we'll talk about the other one which we have is that the various factors that can be that can have a contributor to make a software crisis here, which is various factors that have contributed to make software crisis, that we have to talk about it, and that we have as follows. So in the same case we'll discuss about it, and that is the following is some factors that bring the software crisis, and that is increasing the size or volume of software, lower productivity and quality improvement, lack of skilled staff, and inadequate software training, and then growing the demand for the more software as well. We'll discuss for the solution to present the software crisis here. Solution to present software crisis. In this, to that the solution to that present the software crisis here, that we talk about it, and which is also required of, which is even though which is necessary, and that to be. And in the same case, the most effective solution to present a software crisis that can be the usual and a spread of software engineering practices among the software engineers, and further enhancement in software engineering disciplines as well. We'll talk about the other question that has been the very important question here, that what we have to talk about it. What do you understand by the term software crisis, and discussed in brief? So that we'll discuss here, and what do you mean by software crisis. So what do you mean by the software crisis here? In this has been asked in 3 times examination paper of 5 marks. The software crisis means that the decisive time or that turning point that the software developers encounters during the software development, and hence the software crisis represents various problems that are faced by the software developers during the software development process. To understand software crisis, consider following problem that is often faced by the software industry. The software cost is getting increased that is tremendously day by day, and that the software purchases expenses are high than the hardware purchases, and this is becoming the worrying trend over the years. The following I will show the graph that shows the ratio of that is your hardware cost by software cost and software cost by hardware cost versus years as well. And this graph shows that the cost of software is increasing rapidly than the hardware cost here. So you can see here the cost software cost a software crisis, we can say that been representing here as well. So let's go ahead with the drawing of that particular graph here, which we have as follows. This is your hardware cost by software cost, and this is your years. Okay, so this is being represented like this, and this is so this is showing the software cost or software crisis here, that to be as follows. Now we will go ahead further, that what we have to discuss the other question here, which is list factors that have contributed to making our present software crisis and suggest at least 2 possible solutions to the present software crisis, which has been asked in the examination paper, and that is of 10 marks. So that is also an important one, because this has been asked of 10 marks here, and that is important because 5 marks का ही बहुत important question होता है, तो 10 marks तो बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. And this question which we had done here, that we had talked about it, the contributed to make the present software crisis that we had talked, and the 2 possible solutions that present the software crisis, that also we'll discuss about it. So you can just go through with that all these 3 points, you will get the answer of these particular question of that is of 10 marks as well. Now we'll move ahead with other question, that is another question in the terms of software engineering processes that we have to talk about it, and which is also an important one as well. Let's go ahead. The question is, explain the following statement. You have to explain the following statement, and the statement is software engineering is a layered technology. This has been asked of 10 marks. So here go ahead. Software engineering is a layered technology. So this has been asked, as I told you, this has been asked for 10 marks. So we'll go ahead with the detail, even though we have to make a layered structure as well. In this, the software engineering is a layered technology. Any software that can be developed using these layered approaches. The various layered on which the technology is based are quality focus layer, process layer, method layer, and a tools layer. So that we'll talk about it in a software engineering. See, this is your software engineering. You can see that, even though you can say that. Okay, so this is of software engineering. The first base we have tool, the other we have another we have, and of course the another we have. Okay, so here the first we have is your tools. So in this, that is the automatic support for software. The second is your methods. This is your the provide the technical detailed for the software, and the other we have is your processes. This is the foundations of software. The other we have is your quality management, and this is how we can say that this is the quality management, that is the backbone of the software. So we'll talk about each and every layer about your software engineering in a detailed as well, that has been asked here. So in the same cases, for this discipline, quality management is a backbone of software engineering technology, where the process layer is the foundations of software engineering. Basically, that process defines the framework for timely delivery of software. And in a method layer, that is the actual method that of implementation is carried out with the help of the requirement analysis, designing, coding, using desired programming constructs, and testing as well. Other than that, we have your software tools that are used to bring the automations in software development process as well. Now we will go ahead further, that we have to discuss about software process model. And software process model, which has been asked for 5 marks here in the examination paper. So we will go ahead to discuss software process models. So in the terms of software process model, that we have to talk, as I told you about it, which has been asked of your that is of 5 marks, or they can ask you this particular questions in the form of to describe the software process with suitable examples. This has been asked for 5 marks as well. So in the same cases, where they can ask you the software process that can be defined as the structural set of activities that are required to develop the software system, and the fundamental that activities that are consist of here, where the fundamental activities are as to be follows. And the where the first we have is your specification. The second we have is your design and implementation. The third we have is your validation. And the fourth we have is your evolution. So here the software process model is an abstract representations of process. It presents a descriptions of a process from some particular perspective. For example, the various process models that can be represented by a software development lifecycle models, such as waterfall model, spiral model, and prototyping model, and so on as well. Now we'll discuss one by one each in a detail here. Before starting with that, we'll discuss the process framework. What is process framework? That has also been asked, and where they had asked you about the other question is to enlist process framework activities here. So we will go ahead further, that to be as follows. So enlist process framework activities. So process framework activities here, in the same cases, if I'm talking about here in the detailed, which we have to talk about it, as I told you, this has been asked of 10 times in the examination paper, and that is also an important one. So in the same case, where the first process framework activities, the first is your communication. The first we have communication. In terms of communication, by communicating the customer requirement, gathering is done. The second we have is your planning. In planning, that establishes the engineering work plan, describes the technical risk, lists resources requirement, work product produced, and defines work schedule as well. The other we have is your modeling. In modeling, the software model is prepared by like analysis of requirements, designs. The other we have is your that we have as follows. Here we go ahead with other question that is in the same case as the modeling, that the software model is prepared by the analysis of requirements and design as well. We will go ahead with other one that is we have as your another one is your construction that we talk about it. This is third one, and that the fourth one is your construction. In terms of the constructions, if I'm talking about, the software design is mapped into a code by like code generations and testing. And the fifth we have is your deployment. In terms of deployment here, that is that the software delivered for the customer evaluation and a feedback is obtained as well. These all comes under the process framework and activities, and that what we have to talk about it, and even though that we have to deal with it as well. So now we'll go ahead with further one, that is another question here, that is the similarity and the differences from conventional engineering process, that we have to talk about it, and which is we have as follows. Where we have to discuss, the question has been asked is explain why a software system that is used in a rest real world environment must change or become progressively less useful. This has been asked for 5 marks. So yes, we'll go ahead. Explain why a software system that is used in a real world environment must change or become progressively less useful. In the same case, this has been asked for 5 marks. So here in this, that is the software system that is used in a real world environment that must change because of that the following reasons that we have, and which is the first reason is that the user requirement often changes the existing system that may not accommodate the current requirements, and hence one must update or enhance the system, otherwise it may become obsolete as well. Where the second is that the new technologies are coming up, and if we incorporate these technologies in the existing system, then the systems may become efficient or cost effective. For this purpose, the software system must be changed as well. Now we'll go ahead with other question, which is the another one that we have to talk about it, which is what are the difference between generic software product and development and the custom that is your software development, we have to explain, and that has been asked for 5 marks here. So let's go ahead for that question. We have as follows. So the question we have is the difference between generic software product development and custom software development. So here with this same the references we have that is the differences we have for the generic software development here, that the generic software development is done for developing a general purpose software, and where for the customer software development, that the customer software development is done to develop a software product as per the need of the particular customer. And the second difference we have for that is your generic software product, we have in this development process, the software developers have to imagine the end user requirement, and in the custom software development, that is in this development process, The end user requirement can be gathered by communicating with him. The third difference is that is the generic software product development. This type of a development is very difficult from designing and marketing point of view. And in the custom that is software development that we have, this type of development does not require marketing because it is developed for particular group of users as well. The other will talk about the difference here, which is in the term of generic that software product here, which is the large numbers of users may be using this kind of software, and for this other one is your that the limited numbers of users uses this type of software. Example for the generic here, that is word that editing software, and for the custom here, that is the example is inventory control and management system as well. Now we'll talk about the another one which we have to discuss here, that is to define the software engineering and explain the major differences between the software engineering and the other traditional engineering discipline. So let's go ahead with that, and that is first we have to define the software engineering. So that we have, and in the sum of software engineering, this has been asked this question has been asked of 80 times in the examination paper of 5 marks. So software engineering is the disciplines in which the theories, methods and tools are applied to develop a professional software. The other question in this only, that is to difference between software engineering and other traditional and, or we can say that, conventional engineering. So where we'll discuss about the difference between those as well, which is in the form of the difference between the software engineering and the other traditional or conventional engineering here. So here we'll discuss at least 4 differences between the two, and that what we have to go ahead. So with the same references, the first difference is the conventional engineering and the traditional engineering in respect towards this. That is, in conventional engineering process, the abstract design is translated into concrete product, and in software engineering, the abstract design is translated into the coding, which is considered as an implementations of the product as well. And for the other one, for the conventional engineering and traditional engineering, that the scope of problem domain of conventional engineering is limited, and for the same cases for the another one, which is your software engineering, that the scope of the problem domain of software engineering is very wide. In reference towards the conventional engineering and traditional engineering, that the conventional engineering process is the product intensive process, and software engineering, that the software engineering is a design intensive process as well. That what we have to talk about it. The other we have in the conventional engineering and traditional engineering, the conventional engineering process is product intensive, as I told you. In software engineering, the software engineering is a design intensive process. The fourth difference is that in conventional engineering and traditional engineering, the overall cost of the product gets reduced with product standardization, and in software engineering, that the overall cost of the project that get increased with product standardization. In conventional engineering or traditional engineering, any kind of domain and application specific notation, that notions that can be used in conventional engineering. And for the software engineering, that is, we have the specific standard structures such as sequence, conditions and repetitions are used in the software engineering. So these were the differences that what we have to talk about it here in the detail. And in the same case we have to talk about with references towards it. So let's go ahead with the other question, and that is another question has been asked in terms of software quality attributes. And in this terms of software quality attribute, the question is asked to be follows: And that is what do you mean by software, that is what do you mean by software, and what are the attributes of good software, explained. This has been asked for 5 marks, and this has been asked of 2 times in the examination paper. So let's go ahead with this, and which we have as follows. What do you mean by software? And the software, in terms of software, the software is nothing but a collection of computer program and related documents that are intended to provide the desired feature, functionalities, and a better performance. There are some essential attributes of good software, and those are that we'll talk about the attributes as well. Attributes of software, or we can say that attributes of a good software. So there are many attributes, but we'll discuss some of them. And that the attribute, the first attribute that we have here itself in the same case, that is we have as follows, that the first is your maintainability. In maintainability, that is the sum of is a need to make some modification in the existing software, and a good software is a software which can be easily modified in order to meet the changing needs of the customers here. The second we have is your usability. In usability, it is an ability of the software being useful, and for making the software useful, it is necessary that it should have a proper GUI and documentation. The third we have, we'll just talk about here, that is dependability. So in the dependability here, that is that the dependability is a property that includes reliability, security, and a safety of software. In the other words, the developed software product should be reliable and safe to use. It should not cause any damage or destructions as well. We'll talk about the fourth one, which we have is your efficiency. In terms of efficiency here, that the software should be efficient in its performance, and it should not waste the memory here, that we have to talk about it. Now we'll go ahead with the further one, the further question, that what we have to go ahead, which is the another one, which is software development life cycle. And in the terms of the software development life cycle, we have to talk about it, which is termed as DLC. And the question that can be arise here, which is explains software development life cycle, discuss the various activities during SDLC as well. So here we go ahead with the further one, and which is in the terms of it. So here we talk about it, which is your software development life cycle, and that is the software development life cycle, which stands for SDLC. So here in this, explain the software development life cycle, discuss the various activities during the SDLC, as I told you about it, and that what we have to discuss, which has been asked 3 times in the examination paper of 5 marks. Software development life cycle, that model is a diagrammatically representations of various activities required to make a software product, along with the diagrammatic representation descriptions of each phases of the SDLC must be given, where each phases of the software life cycle consist of various activities to develop the software product gradually, where the software life cycle also specifies the order in which each phases that must be executed as well. Where in the same case, there are the various life cycles activities we have. So the various life cycles activities that we have, and that we have to even though discussed about it. So the first to be activities we have here, that is the requirement gathering and analysis. The First we have requirement gathering and analysis that we have to talk about here. Let's go ahead. In terms of requirement gathering and analysis, in this phase, the basic requirements of the systems are understood, and all these requirements are then well documented and discussed further with the customers for the reviewing. The second we have is your design. In the terms of design, in this phase, the design of the software which is to be developed is created. The design may be a structural design or an object-oriented design. The third we have, which is coding. In coding, in this phase, the software design is translated into machine-readable form. The fourth we have is your testing. In the testing here, the purpose of testing is to uncover errors, fix the bugs, and meet the customer requirement. So these were the requirements and activities of SDLC, which is the software development life cycle, and which we have requirements gathering and analysis, design, coding, and testing here. Now we'll go ahead with the other discussion about the question, which is to discuss about the software development life cycle, as we had discussed here. Why it is important to adhere to life cycle model while developing a large software product. This has been asked of 10 marks, and as we will go ahead with the question as well, that is need for SDLC. So the need for SDLC here, where the software development team must decide the lifecycle model that is to be used for software product development, and then the entire team must adhere to it. This is necessary because the software product development can then be done systematically, and each team member will understand what is the next activity and how to do it. The lifecycle model will bring the definedness and discipline's overall development process. Every lifecycle model consists of definite entry and exit criteria for each phase. Hence, the transitions of the product through that various phases is definite. If the lifecycle model is not followed for software development, then any team member that can perform any software development activity, this will ultimately cause a chaos, and software projects will definitely fail. Without using the life cycle model, it is difficult to monitor the progress of software product. Now we will go ahead with the questions here. That is another question, another important question that we have to talk about it, which is, what do you mean by software process? That even though we had discussed, and what is the difference between methodology and a process, that we have to discuss here. The difference between methodology and process. So in methodology and process, methodology is associated with a process, framework, or approach, wherein process is nothing but a particular procedure that is associated with certain attributes such as efficient, cost-effective, and optimizing. In methodology, examples are spiral model, rational, unified model, or a use of extreme programming in software development process. In process, examples are software design process, software testing process as well. In methodology, the other difference we have is your methodology includes a variety of activities that are required for development of the product. In process, the process have some universal activities such as planning, analysis, design, testing, and so on. These were the differences. This has been asked in all total 5 marks. So first we have to define the software process. Then we have to differentiate between the methodology and the process, as we had differentiated in the 3 points here. Now we'll talk about the waterfall model. The question has been asked is, define the following like waterfall model. This has been asked 3 times in the examination paper of 2.5 marks. So we'll go ahead. waterfall model. In terms of waterfall model here, the waterfall model is also known as linear sequential model. Or we can say that it is known as classic life cycle model. It is oldest software paradigm. This model suggests a systematic, sequential approach to software development. The software development starts with the requirement gathering phase, then progresses through analysis, design, coding, testing, and maintenance. Following figure illustrated the waterfall model that we'll discuss in the next coming classes here. In the same case, the question is, write a short note on waterfall model describing its advantages and disadvantages. That has been asked for 5 marks. So what is waterfall model and what they are named as known as here, that I had told you about it. But for the figure, we will be required do ahead and we'll discuss the benefits and the drawbacks of the waterfall model. So for the waterfall model, that the model we have, so this is known as waterfall model. Where in these games, these were the one by one step that we have to do it, and it is the first we have here is your requirements gathering and analysis. That is the first one. So let's go ahead. Requirement gathering and analysis. Okay, the second is design. In requirement gathering and analysis, in this phase, what we'll do, the basic requirements of the system must be identified and analyzed. In the second step, which is your design here, in this phase, the data structures, software architectures, interfaces, definitions, and algorithmic details are designed. The third we have is your coding. In coding, it is an implementation phase in which the software programs are created. The next steps is your testing. In testing, that it is a phase in which errors and bugs are corrected. The next and the last is your maintenance. In maintenance, in this phase, the system is installed and that put into a practical use here. That is your maintenance. Now we'll go ahead to discuss about the benefits of waterfall model. So the benefits of waterfall model here in this, that is, there are the two benefits of waterfall model. The first, the waterfall model is simple to implement. The second, for implementation of small system, waterfall model is useful. Now we will talk about the other, that is your drawbacks of waterfall model. So the drawbacks of waterfall model here in this, there are 4 drawbacks that we deal with it. The first drawback, it is difficult to follow the sequential flow in software development process. If some changes are made at some phases, then it may cause some confusions as well. That the second is, the requirement analysis is done initially and sometimes it is possible to state all the requirement explicitly in the beginning. The third drawback, the customers can see the working model of the project only at the end here. That is the fourth drawback we have, that linear nature of waterfall model induces blocking states because certain tasks may be dependent on some previous task as well. The other question in terms of it, what they had asked you is that is to mention reasons as to why classical waterfall model can be considered impractical and cannot be used in the real project. That we have done in this is they had asked you about it, which is of 10 marks. Now we will go ahead with the other questions and that we have to discuss here, which is evolutionary development model here. In the evolutionary development model, that is the first question they had asked you about, which is to define the following spiral model. In terms of spiral model here, that has been asked of 2.5 marks in 2 times in the examination paper. Spiral model is an evolutionary development model suggested Barry Boehm. It is, I will write the name, Barry Boehm. It is an iterative model. It is iterative model in which the product development is done in subsequent passes around the spiral, and it is a risk-driven model. Now we'll discuss about the next one, which is the next question. Why spiral model is called as meta model? Why spiral models are called as meta model? This has also been asked of 2 marks in an examination paper. That is, the spiral model is also called a meta model because it is composed of various other models. The spiral model uses prototyping approach for actual product development effort. The single loop of spiral model represents the waterfall model. The iterations of spiral models are considered as evolutionary level using the complete system that can be built, and the spiral model also uses a prototyping model as a risk reduction mechanism. The systematic approach of waterfall model for developing the software product is also adopted in spiral model as well. We'll talk about the other one, which is the why spiral model is not suitable for small project. This has also been the question that has been asked many times in the examination paper of 2 marks. Why spiral model is not suitable for small projects? Because using spiral model, the software development is done in iterations. As the project moves forward and loops in a spiral gets completed. Such a model is more realistic for a long terms and complex projects, and basically similarly the projects having high risk threats that can be developed using spiral model. Hence this model is not suitable for small projects as well. We'll discuss the other question. Explain why programs which are developed using developed using evolutionary development are likely to be difficult to maintain. This has been asked of 5 marks, so that we'll discuss here in the detail. Explain why programs which are developed using evolutionary development are likely to be difficult to maintain. This has been asked of 5 marks. So here in this, that is, the evolutionary model are iterative, and on each iteration the software product is getting built and getting more sophisticated. The developers gain the knowledge about the development of product from earlier version, and using these experiences further refinement and updations that are made. If all the programs produced on each iterations are maintained, then there would several versions of single software product, and this will lead a conflicting condition. Hence it is desired to throw away the previous code after getting knowledge from it. Now we'll talk about another question here, which is another one is draw a neat sketch of spiral model and explain its differences activities. That what do the different cycles indicates in the model, What are the advantages and the traditional iterative process models, why it is not suitable for the small projects. This all has been asked of 10 marks. The other question they can ask you in terms of it, which is write a short note on spiral model. This has been asked of 5 marks. Discuss partial spiral model along with its advantages and disadvantages of spiral model. That will deal with it. So here we go ahead with the starting with the development of the project that can be carried on out in iteration, the task region that can be described here. So first we will go ahead with in terms of spiral model here. In terms of spiral model here, that the task region. In terms of task region here, the first we have a customer communication. In terms of customer communication here, in this, if I'm talking about that, in this region it is suggested that to establish the customer communication. The second we have is your planning. In planning, all planning activities are carried out in order to define the resources, timeline, and other project related activities. The third we have is your risk analysis. In risk analysis, the tasks required to calculate technical and management risks that are carried out. The fourth we talk about it, which is engineering. In terms of engineering here, in this task region, the tasks required to build one or more representations of applications are carried out. The fifth we have is your construct and release. In constructs and release, all the necessary tasks required to construct, test, or install the applications are conducted. Some tasks that are required to provide the user support are also carried out in this task region. The sixth we have customer evaluation. In customer evaluation, the customer's feedback is obtained and based on customer evaluation, required tasks are performed and implemented at installation stage as well. In each region, the numbers of the work tasks are carried out depending on the characteristics of the project. For a small project, relatively small numbers of work tasks are adopted, but for a complex project, large numbers of work tasks can be carried out. In a spiral model, the software engineering team moves around the spiral in a clockwise directions beginning at the core. That I will be representing you through a diagram that you can go ahead and you can understood about the spiral model as well. So here with the same references towards it, here it is your spiral model. And that is the layers here. So they are in the clockwise direction. This is a project entry point axis. This is your, here it is, this is your customer communication. This is planning. This is risk analysis. This is engineering. This is construction and release. This is customer evaluation and feedback that we have. Okay, as this is the concept development project, this is your new product development project, product enhancement project, and project maintenance project as well. This is a spiral model that we have to discuss here in the spiral one. Now we'll talk about the advantages here. Advantages of spiral model. In terms of advantages here, that is, we have two advantages. the requirement changes that can be made at every stage. The second advantages is the risk can be identified and rectified before they get problematic as well. We'll talk about the drawbacks of spiral models. So drawbacks of a spiral model here. The first drawback is it is based on the customer communication. If the communication is not proper, then the software product that gets developed will not be up to the mark. The second disadvantage is it demands that a considerable risk assessment. If the risk assessment is done properly, then only the successful product can be obtained. Now we'll talk about the another one, which is to define evolutionary model. In terms of evolutionary model here, that is has been asked of 2 times in the examination paper of 2.5 marks, which is the evolutionary model is a kind of process model in which the evolution take place in the development of software system in iteration. For example, the spiral model is an evolutionary model in which system undergoes through some changes in each iterations here. The other question in terms of it that they had asked you is what is evolutionary development model, and give its advantages and disadvantages that we have talked about it here. Now we'll go ahead with the other question that this question has been asked for 5 marks. The other question has been this is discuss prototype model here. In a prototype model that what we have to discuss here. Before starting with this, we will discuss some of the things related to it, which is why are evolutionary models considered to many to be the best approach to software development in a modern context, so that we'll talk about it. Evolutionary models considered by many to be the best approach to software, that is to the software development in a modern context. This has been asked of 5 marks in the examination paper that we have to talk about it, and we'll go ahead with a further one, and that is in the same case here the evolutionary models are iterative, and on each iteration the software product is getting built and becoming more sophisticated. The developers gain the knowledge about the development of the product from earlier version, the refinement of the and updations that can be made using the previous version, the risk analysis that can be done at each iteration. Developers can maintain the proper communication with the customers, and the feasible changes suggested by them can be implemented on each iterations as well. Now we will go ahead further, that is the another question that we'll discuss in the next coming class, and that will helpful to you as well, and we will continue in the next coming class. So here we'll end up with this. So here as other than that software engineering, we had completed the sociology here, and we are dealing with the quantitative aptitude, where with section 1 arithmetical ability we had completed the operations on numbers, LCM and SCF of numbers, and the decimal fraction as well. Other than that, we are dealing with reasoning, where we had completed the verbal reasoning, and which is general mental ability and the logic reasoning here. And then after that we had started with non-verbal reasoning, where we had covered up the series where more than 1000 questions we had deal about it. And other than that, we are dealing with analogy, and hopefully in the next coming classes we'll end up with that as well. After that, we are dealing with the database management system, and of course other than that, we are dealing with the chemistry of class 12, where that can be that has been asked in academics as well as competition as well. With reference towards it, that we have to talk about it, which is your software engineering here. So in software engineering, that is the syllabus we'll discussed here. Software engineering, the code of this is NCS 602. Where in introduction, this is the chapter unit 1 that we are dealing with, and where we had completed the name of the unit is your introduction. We had completed to introduction to software engineering, software components, software characteristics, software crisis, software engineering process, similarity and differences, from the conventional engineering process, software quality attributes, software development life cycle we had done, models, waterfall models, prototype models we had done, spiral models we had done, evolutionary development models we had done. We'll done with iterative enhancement models that we have to discuss there and the differences between them that we'll have to discuss in the unit 1, and then we'll end up with that as well. In unit 2, we have the name of the unit as your software requirement specification, which is SRS. That we have to do it the requirement engineering process, and that elicitations analysis, documentations, reviews and management of user needs, feasibility study, information modeling, data flow diagram, entry relationship diagram, decision tables, SRS document, IEEE standards for SRS, and software quality assurance. That is the second part of the unit 2, which is SQA, where we discuss about the verification and the validations, SQA plans, software quality frameworks, ISO 9000 models, and SEE CMM models as well. In unit 3, we have to discuss the software design, which is the basic concepts of software design, architectural design, low level design, modularization, design structures, as well as the charts, pseudocodes, flow charts, coupling and cohesion measures, design strategies, functions oriented design, object oriented design, top down, bottom up design, software measurements and matrices, and this as well as various science oriented measures, and Hillstead software science, functions point based measurements, cyclomatic complexity measures, control flow graphs, that we have to discuss in unit 3. Now in unit 4, we have to discuss the software testing, where the software objectives, unit testing, integration, testing acceptance, testing regression testing, testing for the functionality, and that is the testing for performance, top down, bottom up testing, strategies, test drivers, test stops, structural testing, white box testing, functional testing, which is black box testing, and the test data salt preparations, as well as the alpha and beta testing of product static testing strategies, formal technical reviews, that is peer reviews, walkthrough, and as well as code inspections, compliances with design and coding standards, that we have to talk about in unit 4. After that, we will start with discussing about the unit 5th, which is your name of the unit is your software maintenance and software project management. We have to discuss the software as an evolutionary entity, need for maintenance, categories of maintenance, preventives, corrective and perfective maintenance, cost of maintenance, software re-engineering, reverse engineering, software configuration management, activities, change control process, software version control, and overview of case tool, estimations of various parameters such as cost, effort, schedule, duration, constructive cost models, that is COCOMO, and resource allocation model, as well as the software risk analysis and management. That's what we have to discuss in the next coming classes. With the same with that, we will discuss about that the short answer question as well of that of 2 marks. In reference towards it, we'll have to discuss the iterative enhancement. After that, we'll discuss the comparisons among the various models as well in a unit 1, and the short answers questions of 2 marks that has been possible here, that we have to discuss here as well. So first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers. Please go through with the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe to our channel, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well, so that you will get all these videos through the playlist. And it's a huge request from my side to please go through with the playlist, and to please like, share and subscribe our channel, because your support is very important to us. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on the comment box. Thank you.